So like if you look at my comments when I'm talking about if you have a low interest rate on your mortgage for your house, don't overpay it and pay that mortgage down. Well, people are like, well, I want to be free and clear on my mortgage. No, listen, motherfucker. You have a 2% interest rate. Don't fucking overpay and pay it down. Well, but I want that equity. No, take the difference that you want to pay it down, put it in the fucking S&P 500 or some shit like that, or buy life insurance. Do something fucking with it.
Yeah.
The fact of the fucking matter is exactly what you just said. Most people aren't going to be either disciplined or sophisticated enough to actually fucking do it.
Yeah.
So you got people like, okay, well, if the money's going to fucking the restaurants and the bars every weekend, yeah, fucking pay it down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though it's a 2%. So.
Now, that back, it goes to our back end, and that's where we get the debt. But here's where we are strapped, is let's say I want to exit, and my book of business right now, they owe me $30,000 a month. If I were to retire, they look at projected, when you sell an insurance policy, you know, it's based off of your advance, and then once it's paying, then it's an active renewal. It's not a, it's a release check prior to that. So technically right now, it would take 3 years for my debt balance to pay off. So if I retired right now, 27, 28, they'd give me 30 grand a month. But the thing is they're in a legal binding contract as a franchise owner, I cannot sell a lead ever. You know what I mean? I would they basically could pursue me like it wouldn't be a civil lawsuit. It would be a federal lawsuit, right? If I try to sell my leads, they could federally destroy me. So that's where I have to create different equity. But it's cool long run. Like my partner, his book of business is $500,000 a month. You know what I mean? So he's been doing it 20 years. That's a tremendous amount of money. But where I try to help my guys and be blatantly honest and open is from your content. I'm like, yeah, you guys make good money on the front end, but if you're not smart with it, it's kind of like pitching somebody on investing. And we can start recording.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's like pitching somebody on like whole life insurance and then expecting them, or you'll hear Dave Ramsey, term life, invest the difference.
Yeah.
How many motherfuckers are actually investing the difference? You know what I mean? That's where I tell people where I disagree with Ramsey is
right.
How many people invest the difference? Even white collar guys I'll meet that's they're not really investing. You know what I mean? It's not oh, I'm investing. It's you're not investing, dude. What do you consider investing? You looked at Bitcoin today and your buddy does, foreign exchange. It's you're not investing. So it's that's where I don't see eye to eye with.
Well, Dave Ramsey is interesting, but that's the same shit. So if you look at my comments when I'm talking about if you have a low interest rate on your mortgage for your house, don't overpay it and pay that mortgage down. Well, people are like, well, I want to be free and clear on my mortgage. No, listen, motherfucker. You have a 2% interest rate. Don't fucking overpay and pay it down. Well, but I want that equity. No, take the difference that you want to pay it down, put it in the fucking S&P 500 or some shit like that, or buy life insurance. Do something fucking with it.
Yeah.
The fact of the fucking matter is exactly what you just said. Most people aren't going to be either disciplined or sophisticated enough to actually fucking do it.
Yeah.
So you got people like, okay, well, if the money's going to fucking the restaurants and the bars every weekend, yeah, fucking pay it down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though it's a 2%. So,
anyway. And I actually had this in my notes, everything to discuss with you. Sorry, are weird.
Are we starting? Are we on right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Another episode of Adversity Kings. Very unconventional. I've been taking notes all day. I got content on. I was studying and just everything John Cerasani. So shout out let's start off right off rip. 2,000% raise, John Cerasani. Here's the book. If you haven't read it, if you haven't signed up, there's a membership where you can get access to this if you suck at physically reading and you're like, man, I can't physically read. You can get membership access, and I have membership access. It's $2 a day. I promise. I promise some of you guys, most of the people I know can afford $2 a day. So if you can afford $2 a day, sign up.
I'm going to start marketing it that way, $2 a day. I didn't even fucking think of that. Good job.
Bro.
Good job, buddy. There you go, man.
So $2 a day, set aside a coffee, a Celsius, and go get 2,000% raise. Give yourself a 2,000% raise.
Boom.
So let's go. Rent versus buy. That's one of the things I had.
Yeah. So I made a reel on Instagram and TikTok about how do the fucking math. Do the motherfucking math, okay? Because we're all trained to think, all right? People that are in their 30s and up have all been bred and trained to think that home ownership, paying off your mortgage, that's the American dream. You guys in your 20s right now are in limbo. You're hearing both freaking sides of it, okay? But you get the 40-somethings and 50-somethings, as soon as you say, hey, renting might be better than buying, you're an idiot. Are you fucking stupid? And the reason they think that is because between that and their 401k, that's their whole nest egg. That's the only thing they've ever done with their fucking lives. Okay, that's their only investment vehicle. The 401k that their employer made them take, and paying down equity in their fucking house. So they don't know any better.
Yeah.
Okay, but the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of money you're throwing out the freaking window when you buy a house and have a mortgage. All right, let's talk about them. Your homeowners association fees. That's money gone, motherfucker. All right. Oh, your mortgage, but you're paying that to yourself, right? Wrong. Look at an amortization schedule on a 30-year fucking mortgage. All right, I got fucking news for you. 90% plus of that fucking money is going to interest early on in that 30-year schedule. All right, so that's money literally fucking gone, just like your rent would be. Well, what about the tax benefits? Dude, go talk to your buddy Donald Trump, who was only protecting the rich people, right? Wrong as far as the Trump tax laws. That fucking benefit of mortgage interest pretty much got diluted to nothing for people with fucking money. Property taxes. If you live in a state like fucking Illinois, property taxes, yeah, okay. You never own your house.
Yeah.
The state of Illinois owns your fucking house. The Cook County tax assessor owns your fucking house. And for those people that aren't in a state like Illinois and don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, $500,000 house, yeah, your property taxes are going to be over $1,000 a month probably. FYI, okay? Same's true for California, a lot of other states. I got an aunt and an uncle though that live in where do they fucking live? Asheville, North Carolina. They're telling me they have like a $400,000 home. They said they pay like $800 a year, and I'm like, well, fuck.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different conversation. But my point is, everything that's being thrown away, your property taxes, the interest portion of your fucking mortgage, your homeowners association fee. All right, and by the way, routine fucking maintenance, put that in there shit too. All the shit that you don't have to pay as a renter,
yeah,
add those up, compare it to that rent price. Now make an educated fucking decision. Not to, well, the house is going to appreciate though, and you build value. Got it, but how long are you going to live there for? Because if you're only going to live there for a few years, it better appreciate substantially, because you got about 7% of closing costs between buying and selling that motherfucker.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And the reason I got really, that's the content I've been kind of absorbing here recently, is we just moved my grandma into a apartment, kind of like a 55 plus, where it's not like an absolute like nursing home or anything like that.
Assisted living,
Assisted
retirement.
Type of deal. Yeah, but she has a nice crib.
How old is she, by the way?
What's grand? 76?
Yeah.
80.
I wait for the day when a 55 or a 56-year-old actually live in one of those. They always say it's 55 plus. I don't see any 56-year-olds. I see a bunch of 80-year-olds, but anyway.
Yes. No, that's actually a good point. But so we move her in there, but she didn't want to sell her house. She's probably, I think it was probably appraised at 400-something thousand. It's in Pennsylvania. So it's in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, let alone. It's on 8 acres. Needs a lot of work. It was, I don't know if you know anything about architects, but it was a Frank Lloyd Wright inspiration home.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Beautiful home. And my sister and I are in a position where I'm confused on, I don't care. It's not going to make me any money, but it's something that's like, it's a no-brainer. We can take over. I think she's got 40,000 left.
Nice.
And I'm thinking to myself, now, would it be better if her and I developed an LLC and then put something on there and we just put 100 grand into it, 200 grand on it, and made it an Airbnb, made it just so, like made the rent so outrageous that it didn't get ransacked by some like brokey?
Right.
What would you do in that situation?
Okay, so you guys owe 40 grand on it. What do you think the house is worth roughly?
I'd say at low end with the property and everything, it's got to be 400. I'd say low end 400.
Okay, so you got a lot of equity on that place.
Yeah.
How's she paying for her assisted living facility?
Us. We're gonna.
I mean,
Pap's pension. Oh, okay. So my grandfather passed away, and her pension. Is it a joint survivor pension? He had that.
Everything that he made, like.
Okay, so I guess she's still getting taken care of, but my pap passed away. She's still getting taken care of then.
I mean, in most circumstances like this, I think what people usually do that enter those facilities is sell the home that they were in and use that money to pay for it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you guys got additional money. I mean, is there a reason to have the house? I would look at it independently. Were you looking to start an Airbnb in Pennsylvania?
No, that's the thing. I was like, would we make more just to sell it right off rip?
Yeah.
Or would it be better just keep it, throw money at it?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
family. I don't know.
She's still alive, right? So
that's the thing. Yeah.
So it's like technically her money, and I mean, if I wouldn't start investing her money, I would think like once she passes, whatever's left over, make moves like that.
Don't say grandma.
It's not really your money. It's not your money.
Gran, we love you.
But seriously though, that's how I would look at it. I would say, listen, man, that's going to be your guys' money, or however you guys split it up once she does passes, and if it's in your nature to make moves like that, it doesn't sound to me like she personally needs to make moves. Her money needs to last.
She's good between my pap and us. If she ever needed anything,
right,
she'd be good. Next, let's go into LLC.
But I mean, that's a shitload of money for like. Listen, if you got 350 grand sitting in freaking equity in a home, I mean, that's something, man.
Yeah,
you know?
But and I do look at it that way, but also you young people, 350,000. You're in your 30s, your 40s, not a lot of money. If you look at the average American lives off about 50, 60,000 a year. If you're in Chicago, you're broke. The homeless make more than 50, 60,000 a year.
Right.
So let's say 350,000. How long would that last you in Chicago? 3.5 years.
No, that's 100% true. Yeah, I was looking at more for like
my grandma, my 80-year grandma, 350,000 for sure, in the middle of Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
Well, just the fact that she's an elderly person that has that much equity. You'll hear these stories about 80-year-olds living in one-bedroom condos, and it's worth 120 grand, and they owe 90 on it, and they have 30 grand, and plus the 4 grand they have in savings. You know what I mean?
Yes. So that's a stat we'll hit people with, a life insurance stat, when we're trying to hit them with a pitch of like, hey, Joe, Mary, the average person actually dies with $300 in savings. That's probably not going to be you. Build them back up and let them know. But what we want to make sure is, that definitely isn't you. So out of these options, which one makes the most sense? But it is a true stat. Most people don't got a lot of money in the bank. So
and just so everyone knows, Tristan agreed to be interviewed on my podcast after it. I got to keep reminding myself this is his podcast, because I want to ask you a million questions about what you just said right there. No, you asked me. I'm sorry.
I'm ready to get berated. I'm like, I'm gonna get smacked with questions.
Yeah.
Here's another. I asked my lawyer yesterday. I was like, because I'm going through different ideas, and I'm like, what could we do? What could we do? What could we do? And then I was just curious in regard to taxation here, and just, especially from, I don't know if I asked you, Dave, but, I wanted your perspective on LLC. Let's say you're helping your son open up a business.
Yep.
LLC, S Corp, C Corp, or don't worry about it until you're making X amount of funds.
Yeah. So for me, when I had my business, I did an S Corp, and the reason why was because it just makes everything fucking simple. Everything passes through. I owned 100% of the frickin' company. It just makes it easier to do taxes at the end of the year. And you can't really, it forces you to not really be able to play any games, by the way. Like the write-offs is different. The write-offs, business write-offs, you could do that in really all of them. But for me, it was like, okay, well, if I have 900 grand in my business checking account, I could just leave that there and not pay myself, and not have to pay myself, pay taxes on that 900 grand. Wrong. If you're an S Corp, no, it all passes through. You do have to just, if whether it's in that account or your account, you do it. And for me, that just, that just took that freaking little conundrum off of my, off of my plate for a year. And I'm an S Corp. I gotta fucking pay myself this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? My accountant also advised that. I'm not sure if there would have been advantages doing it a different way, but I talked to multiple accountants, and they had recommended the S Corp route.
Do they ever recommend, I don't know if what's the perfect way to phrase this, but I've seen individuals that I follow start to obviously go south. You got your people that transition to Texas. You got I look at Rogan left California. I look at Musk left California. So there's a lot of successful individuals that have gone to these different states with Texas. You got Florida, but I've seen some people go to Puerto Rico. Is there a minimum amount of living that has to be proven?
Yes, yeah. So I've looked into that really closely. So a couple of Puerto Rico's a different conversation, but the states. And by the way, you got to realize this: you're not getting out of federal income tax. Puerto Rico, you kind of are. I'll talk about that. But the state income tax is what you're getting out of. So Illinois, I think, is roughly, it keeps fucking changing. It's around 8% state income tax. Okay. Texas is 0. Florida is 0. Tennessee is 0. I think there's a handful of others that are fucking 0. Okay, you'll have to actually live in that place for at least 181 days. Okay, and you have to be able to fucking prove it. My accountant, I looked really closely because I was set up to do it, man. I was making big time fucking money, and my son lived with his mom at the time down in the Dallas area. So I'm like, well, shit, I'll just buy a place out there and fucking go. Blah, blah, blah. They go, dude, if you're not planning on actually physically being there 181 days, don't effing do it. And if you're already on that state's radar screen, okay. So, for instance, at that point, when I came up with this decision, I had already been paying Illinois a boatload of taxes each year.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Illinois Department of Revenue is going to be like, wait, that guy went to 0 this year. Oh, wait, he paid us, well, how much last year? 900 grand or whatever the fuck I paid him in taxes? Well, let's think about that. Now it's 0. Well, he says he moved to Texas. Let's look into that, okay? If you do it early on before you're even on their radar screen, maybe you could get away with it. But I was advised, don't even try it if you're not actually physically going to be there 181 days.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. Puerto Rico, there's something different with Puerto Rico, bro. Puerto Rico has some kind of benefit where if you start a business there, you get out of everything, I believe. You got listeners that are going to be more sophisticated on this than me, but there's definitely if you actually go domain yourself in Puerto Rico and start the business in Puerto Rico, I believe you get out of federal income tax, I think. And that was more just of a promotion to the Puerto Rican economy thing. Hey, we want you people to go to Puerto Rico, start a fucking business, hire Puerto Ricans, or I shouldn't even say Puerto Ricans, the people of Puerto Rico, the people that are living there to stimulate their economy. And I know a couple people that did this. I actually know somebody that has a restaurant business, restaurants that are here, but the hospitality group that owns those restaurants is based in Puerto Rico, and they have actual functions happening in Puerto Rico, including like their front office people that were the people of Puerto Rico that they hired. Well,
Guys, my business, believe it or not, now identifies its location as Puerto Rico.
Is this right?
So let's go.
Exactly. We're actually in Puerto Rico right now.
We're actually in Puerto Rico.
We're in, what's the big place in Puerto Rico? Is it San Juan? San Juan in Puerto Rico. Anyway.
We're in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, exactly.
This is really going to correspond with just your movement, your mantra, 2,000% raise. And this is going to help everybody. I'm very passionate about, I've been putting a lot of content out about getting the smallest slice out of the biggest pie. And I think a lot of people in life in general, they want the biggest cut, and they screw over a lot of relationships and screw over a lot of people. Yeah. And it doesn't help me when I put content out and show the people that contribute to my business and put insurance sales in my business by telling them, hey, I want the smallest slice, and I think you should look for bigger and better things. But I feel like morally, by me advocating that, I'm going to keep more people in my business and with me. By advocating, I think you should make more money, and let's do business together. So here's my question. Entrepreneurship versus intrapreneurship, and I think that's more of a recently created term.
All right.
I feel like that's what we would be, because we didn't found this life insurance company.
By the way, I didn't know we were going to start filming. I thought it was me. I'll adjust my clothes before we started. Anyway, go ahead.
We sat down and started talking,
like,
so I started ripping.
Action.
So entrepreneurship versus intrapreneurship, which is just basically, those are sales guys. That's us. You know what I mean? You get into a company that's already been founded, the establishment, everything's been done. The infrastructure, we didn't take care, outside of the little bit of payroll and things we do as a franchise owner, versus employee. So a lot of people hear you go entrepreneur versus employee, but they don't hear about that middle section, I feel like, of like the commission and all that.
Right. I feel like, you know, for a business, probably specifically yours, from what I've seen in social media, but really just any business that's bringing people in and training them on a product or on a service, and the person coming in really had no knowledge of this industry previously, and then not only teaching them about the product, but also teaching them sales skills and how to close, all right, and teaching them work ethics and how to cold call and all that shit, with no cap on what that person could make. That's invaluable, especially for a young person, and not even if you're young, if you're just switching industries and you have access to that kind of a culture, it is huge. So, you know, you'll hear me on social media, kind of, I make a joke about W-2 employees, being an employee, and, you know, you should be an entrepreneur. But what I'm talking about there is when you're working in corporate America and you've been led to believe that you can't compete unless you work at one of these Fortune 500 giants, unless your company is traded on the New York Stock Exchange, you don't matter. I'm not talking about jobs that allow people to fucking grow professionally. Now, at some point with the aforementioned types of companies, that person is going to have to make a decision for themselves. Okay, I'm pretty fucking good at this. I've learned a lot. I don't need you to teach me how to sell anymore. I got it now. I've been here for a few years and I'm pretty fucking good at it. Now, how does that person advance within that organization? Is there opportunities for advancement? Because a lot of times there's not. A lot of times it's a pretty flat organization with one or two people up there, and the only advancement really for them is just to get better and better at sales and make more fucking money, which is fine as well. At some point, though, that person needs to make a decision. Okay, now that I'm not really learning anymore, is the revenue I'm bringing in and how I'm getting paid worth me still being a part of this organization? And that's a conundrum for both the employer and the employee. You know what I mean? Because that employer wants those people to stay forever.
Yeah.
But they throw too many resources at them, it becomes uneconomical for the employer to give them this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hey, dude, I can't give you 4 assistants, and we need to make something on the money you fucking bring in. And
yeah.
You know what I mean? So it could be service platform. It could be specific to the product being sold. It could be leads given to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how valuable that is. But I think, really in any organization, that new person, at least on that road while they're mastering their craft,
yeah,
it's well worth them to go down that path as part of an organization that already knows how to do it.
It's fire. I wanted to get into. I saw on your social media you were with the kids who were attacked by the bears a while ago.
Yep.
And that was dope. I love wrestling. I wrestled a little bit growing up.
Okay.
So I know they were wrestlers. How'd you come across those kids, dude?
That was with Bob Menery. So Bob Menery and, oh gosh, what are those kids' names? Kendall is one of them. He still texts me every once in a while. I think he'll just see me on social media and he'll call me and ask me some random investment question. But yeah, those kids were great, man. They were JUCO wrestlers out in, I believe, Wyoming or Montana or some shit. And they got attacked by a fucking bear. And the other wrestler fought off the fucking bear while the other kid was getting mauled. And I mean, those kids they're fucking tough sons of bitches, man. They're like 21 years old.
Yeah.
I spent the weekend with them in Boston, and we had a blast. And no offense to Bob Menery, but he fucked it up because he fucked it up and got too cute with the podcast. I was the co-host with Bob, and we had these kids flew in, and all this shit, and it was a setup like this, but we had a bigger table at Bob's apartment with like 8 different fucking microphones, and it got too out of fucking control, and people were like chiming in, like the DoorDash guy comes in, and we go, Bob, come sit down, and Bob gets him to like cancel the rest of his DoorDash orders the other night, and the guy sits down with us. It was all hilarious at the time, but when we post-production edited it, when Bob did the next day, he goes, dude, we can't film this. I go, buddy, these kids flew in. They're all weekend. He goes, well, they had a great time in Boston hanging out with us, right? I go, yeah. I go, but they're planning on being this show being aired. And he goes, dude, it's not a good look for either of us. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, John, you came in later. You look kind of drunk. I'm like, all right, don't air it. Dude. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
How'd you meet Bob Menery? I had that in my notes too. How'd you guys come into contact?
He's a great guy, man. He's a great guy. We met through he's been a great guy to me, at least. Some people don't agree with him being a great guy, but he has been really good to me. We crossed paths through this podcast circuit. We kind of made buddies with him being on my show on the 2000% Raise podcast. And, I'm one of those guys, man, that like looks for people to grow with. And you can't grow by being around people that are bringing the exact same thing to the table that you bring to the table. You know what I mean? If you're only hanging out with your high school friends and you're in your 30s, dude, you all came from the same fucking place. Well, I'm only friends with people at my fucking first job out of college. Dude, you're all fucking learning the same shit. You're not bringing anything new to the fucking table. You know what I mean? So Bob's brought this element into my life that's very different. It was definitely a white space that didn't exist before, and he's kind of filled that gap with kind of his shenanigans and everything else. And I think I do the same thing for him, man. I think maybe he wouldn't characterize it the same way, but he likes being around good business people. This is for sure. I think he's probably more friends with people like me than he is with people like himself, and I think that's probably by design.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
dope.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the yacht show and trips you've taken, and I've seen, because I always tell myself, man, I don't care what anybody says. how much money they saved, how much money they made. They got to spend somewhere a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. And I've seen you take some luxurious trips, and
Yeah.
you've really emphasized, and not like gloated, but more so just brought out that you believe in bringing your family, bringing your kids, and having them experience those trips. So I want to start with the yacht show and then transition into, you guys did some like yacht cruise, though, it looked like, with your family in like Italy or something. So I want to talk about that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, to that logic, I'll just give you an idea. When I was buying an Escalade a couple years ago during COVID, the older models were $40,000 less than, or they were charging $40,000 premium on the newer models because it was during COVID, because there was supply and demand thing. So I bought one a couple years older, so I didn't have to pay the $40,000 premium. So I could certainly afford it, but it was the logic of it, okay? Versus I took my kids on this European vacation last year, and I spent $250,000 on this vacation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would have spent an extra $40,000 that I didn't have to on a car because of the logic and just the principle of it. But I literally spent $250,000 on this vacation last year. A good chunk of it was being on the TV show Below Deck. It's on Bravo. Below Deck Sailing. I'm on season 4, episodes 5 and it's either 4 and 5 or 5 and 6. And it was a great fucking experience, man. It was in Sardinia, Italy. We're on a 177-foot sailing yacht. We got a lot of notoriety for it. They kind of try to position me as a little bit of a douchebag, but the most fucked up thing about it, though, I gotta tell you, we filmed this motherfucker in July of 2022. It aired in May of 23. And sure enough, I'm not dating the same girl that I had on the show with me. So it's like, fuck, we broke up a couple months ago. And this will be interesting, watching yourself on this fucking dream vacation with somebody you're not with anymore. You know what I mean? It was good though, man. My kids were on it. My son, I think kind of stole the show. Super polite.
Can we get his perspective?
You want to talk about it, Jake? All right.
Can we get perspective? Is this Mike greening up?
It's my son, Jacob.
Jake's been really well-mannered, so this is Jacob Cerasani.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah, talking to the mic, dude.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hold the mic up.
All right, there we go.
So what's your perspective? What was the experience of the trip like?
Well, it was really cool. I got to just see so much stuff. I mean, being on the show was probably the coolest part. It was weird because like you're getting filmed like all the time and you have to ignore the cameras,
Yeah.
But as for the rest of the Europe trip, I just got to see so much stuff that so many people never get to see their whole lives, So, yeah.
What was your favorite part of the trip?
Well, I mean, the boat was up there, but probably just seeing like all of the like historical. Like seeing the Mona Lisa, for example.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That's insane.
Yeah, just like I liked a lot of the historical stuff and also just chilling at the beach too.
Yeah.
Fun trip.
Tell them what beach where we were at.
We were in Sardinia. San Sebastian.
What's what's with that beach? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Topless.
yeah, topless beach.
I told him it's a topless beach, but all the European beaches are topless. But I go, it's not like what you're gonna expect there, buddy.
Yeah, it was both good and bad, mostly bad. But, yeah.
Let's go. What school do you go to?
I go to Barrington High School.
Barrington High School?
Yeah.
So do you get a lot of clout from coming back and like your boys being like, bro, how was Italy?
Yeah,
You're on a show. Or do you have any other friends on a show?
No, none of my friends have been in a show. But yeah, I mean, as for the show, I mean, I got, I guess, a little bit of clout at school for it. A lot of people talked about it, but I mean, yeah, all my friends thought it was cool how I went to Europe and stuff.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope, dude.
Tell them 2 good things about Paris that you saw.
Paris. Well, hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to remember.
No, you're good, brother.
The hotel we were staying at was really cool. I think like it was like the size of a house there, right?
Yeah, we had a really cool hotel room, Labor style, but you're forgetting right now. But remember the Eiffel Tower?
Oh yeah, the Eiffel Tower. Yeah,
exactly.
that was really cool. That was like the best part almost.
Little thing called the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, the Eiffel Tower was so sick. Like, really cool view.
Do you guys have any future trips coming up? Any future things coming up? Any moves coming up?
Well, we're going to Cabo in December, so that'll be a nice, relaxing trip.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. How was the mock trial?
Oh, it was really cool actually. Hold on, could I?
Yeah, you're good, brother.
Yeah. But yeah, at the mock trial, I learned so much stuff. A lot of cool people. I think the best part about it was on UCLA campus, and that was just so sick. Like so big, so like, and yeah, I just learned a lot. Like really.
Somebody your age, 15, 16 years old, watching this and they're thinking, man, you know, maybe I'm not in the environment where I have access to these things, but how could they start to think more open-minded and start to, you're very, I would say, just ahead in regard to, it's not just environment, it's you as an individual and as a person. The way you greeted me, respectful, handshake, eye contact, body language, that's something that's controllable regardless of your environment. So what are some, like, obviously you have a vision of where you want to go and where you want to be in life, but what's one thing some 15-year-old could do, some 16-year-old could do to kind of emulate these skills that you already have and that you're already developing? What could they do to kind of have what you have? Because this is going to make you money. I could promise you, regardless, you're going to make money with the skills you got right now.
I mean, really, I think like the biggest thing is like being just like charismatic in general with people. Like, I mean, I have friends like, and like really like, I mean, like none of my friends like obviously have like the connections I do because of my dad. Really cool guy. But like, I mean, just like. You could, for example, like my friends, they started a like car detailing business. They just got some equipment, and they go to door, and like the main reason why they're successful is because they are charismatic. You know, they have eye contact with people, and that's really nothing that needs much resources.
Yes,
you know?
1000%, bro.
For sure.
1000%. Thank you for hopping on, man.
Thanks,
yeah,
Jake.
of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Shout out, Jake. Where can people follow you? You got to be on social media.
Oh no!
Well, just Jake Cerasani on Instagram. I don't really have many. I don't have any posts right now.
It's all good.
Yeah.
No weirdos hit him
Yeah.
up. Jake Cerasani.
Yeah.
Let's go.
He's
Thank you.
a Snapchat guy anyway.
Snap. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's hop into a couple more of my notes
Sure,
and we'll
man.
transition over to you.
Yeah.
Anything you can talk about that you're investing into? Cool shit coming up. Cool things you're excited about.
You know, man, so one of the big things I talk about on social media a bit is I'm in the investment group that bought the Newport Beach Marriott Hotel.
Okay.
And what's cool about that for me is when I was my son's age, both of my parents are passed away now. And my dad was a high school teacher, and you know we didn't have a ton of money or whatever. We were by no means poor. We were definitely good, but we would go on these vacations every couple years that made us kind of feel like we were rich.
Yeah.
And we go to Hawaii. We go to like one year we went to Newport Beach, and my dad would save up on the times between. Like for instance, my birthday is December 3rd. Basketball season starts like what, October.
Yeah.
I would always get my new basketball shoes for the season on my birthday. So the first month of the basketball season.
Yeah.
Was the shoes from the fucking previous year. They were probably a size too small. But it was stuff like that. My parents would make decisions like that. But then they would go all out. My dad would at least on these vacations. So went to Newport Beach Marriott one year, and I have great memories of it. And unfortunately, both of my parents passed away in the last few years.
Condolences
So thank you. And it's kind of cool to be now an owner of that hotel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
that's sweet.
You know, so that's pretty cool. Other than that, man, I'm in a bunch of celebrity-owned venture capital things, and you know, it'll be more interesting when one of them sells for $1 billion. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What's the mental game of riding it out? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Riding that shit out, throwing the 6 figures around, throw it here, throw it there.
Yeah.
Everybody hitting you up, bro. I got a great idea. I got a great
Yeah.
idea. I got a great idea. You know what I mean? Like riding that shit out. What's that like?
Yeah, well, it sucks to be honest with you. I got involved in shit like, so I sold my company in 2015. I was 37 years old. Had to work for the company that bought mine for 5 fucking years. Stock that I took in that company skyrocketed, so I ended up with all this money and basically just retired. And I'm like, oh, I'll be a fucking angel investor. I'll be a venture capitalist. And it's not like, you know, there's not like formal training to have that designation. It's my own fucking money. I can do whatever the fuck I want with it. But you put on your link tree or you put on your LinkedIn that you're a venture capitalist, you're going to get a lot of new friends really fast, dude. Everyone's hitting you up, dude. Everyone wants to talk to you. And there's angel investors out there that eat this shit up, and they feel so fucking important because they're sitting there getting pitched all day. They think they're fucking Kevin O'Leary or something, and they don't actually have the fucking money to throw around in all these fucking deals. Well, this asshole, me, did have the money to throw around in all these fucking deals. So I'm doing the same thing I'm seeing these other motherfuckers doing. But I think everything's a great fucking idea. I'm like, sure, here. Yeah. No, I'll tell you what it did do, and that's what I learned after about 7 months. I got to start saying fucking no to some motherfuckers, which I did. But I'll tell you what it did do. That kind of recklessness put me in some circles where people thought I was like just a straight up fucking G. And, you know, there were some things I did out in LA that got me into those fucking circles, and I didn't do it. This is why it works, because it was genuine. I wasn't doing it. I'm not gonna, hey, I'm investing in this because I want to be this guy's friend or whatever. No, I'm investing in this because I thought it was a good idea, and hopefully I was fucking right.
Yeah.
But you do that more than a few times. Like, who's that fucking business guy from Chicago that's fucking in all these deals? Oh wait, he's in her deal. He's in his deal. Holy shit! Wait, that same guy, my name keeps popping up. Now all of a sudden I'm in these fucking circles with people.
Yeah.
And those circles start fucking colliding, dude. And all of a sudden it's like, you know, hanging out with a fucking person that's part of the fucking Nolette family that owns fucking Kettle One. I'm hanging out with people that own the fucking, I'm not going to say their names, but they're NFL pro sports teams, you know what I mean? And NBA pro sports teams. It's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was just some dude from fucking Schaumburg that, you know, happened to fucking quit his job in corporate America and start his own fucking insurance company and employee benefits back in 2005. And if I didn't make that fucking decision, I would probably still be working there, but have some big fucking job title and think my shit don't stink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
Hell
the
yeah.
fucking fact of the matter, bro. That's
Hell
the
yeah.
fact of the matter.
That's fire. You got to get like a shirt that says like straight out of Schaumburg. You got to see his you got to see his content when he talks about coming from Schaumburg.
Dude.
Sounds like Compton. Holy
Exactly.
shit, this dude came from
Compton,
Compton.
bitch.
So I wanted to talk about you know, we got you know, kind of our niche here is basically like a frat. If you come in here, that's what our TikTok haters will call it, the strip mall.
Yeah.
And so we made a new podcast coming out, Strip Mall Paycheck Fridays. Stay tuned for that. But I wanted to ask, have you found individuals in your circle that are dirty and unorganized? Does wealth correspond? Does success correspond with dirty people? Because we'll get on these kids about, hey man, you know, we provide an office and a space for you and resources for you guys, but please, for the love of God, don't be dirty. You know what I mean? Just pick up your shit, put it in the trash can. Don't have a dirty car. You know, like, holy shit.
That's fucking funny. I'm like, I thought you were like referring to like dirty in terms of like some kind of context. You mean like literally dirty?
Yeah, I knew when I put it in here. It says, if you look at my notes, it says dirty and wealthy, and I'm like, that sounds horrible. I'm like, especially Cerasani. I'm like, this is gonna come off horrible.
Yeah, no, bro. I honestly, dude, I think it's a fucking maturity and an age thing, probably, brother. I'm gonna tell you, dude. My car right now looks a lot different than it did when I was like fucking 23.
Yeah.
My car when I was 23, there's fucking McDonald's French fries on the fucking floor. I don't know. I think just as you get older, you start to fucking pay attention to that.
Clean up a little more.
Yeah, unless you're like a fucking hot girl, then like hot girls always have like fucking disorganized cars. So
Yeah.
no matter what age.
Yeah.
That's just what I've always found.
Always.
Makeup's every fucking where. And,
Yeah,
you know,
just
whatever.
dirty everywhere.
How about that stereotype there? You go.
I can't say stuff like that, but you
Yeah,
can.
there you go.
So, shout out Boy Tech at the gym. I was at Lifetime. I was hitting legs, and this gentleman's name was Boy Tech, and he asked me what I did. He's like, "You got a suit on," and so this is one thing I'll tell these guys, like, because of our maturity, and I'll ask your thoughts on this, is when you are younger, because you were probably the richest person in a lot of circles, and you're in sweats, and you know you got your chain on and everything like
Right.
that. So it's like. But I imagine at a point when you're pitching people and you were pitching people to buy your company, you may not have been in your sweats.
Yeah.
On the come up, you may have, you know, cleaned yourself up, suit and tie and things like that. Do you think it's important until you're at a place where you have that FU money
Yep.
that you should clean yourself up, present yourself?
So I always look at the upside versus the downside of anything. All right. And when I wear a suit, even if I'm fucking overdressed, even if everyone else is in fucking khakis and fucking whatever, okay. I'm the best dressed person. What's the fucking downside of that?
Yeah.
All right. What's the fucking downside of that? Versus me showing up fucking like this and you know in sweatpants or something. Whenever, you know, what's the upside? That I'm a little bit comfortable. Well, what's the downside of that? That I look like a fucking asshole. You know what I mean? So yeah, fucking dress the fuck up. For sure. If you got even here, man, even here right now when you don't even have any fucking meetings internally, dress the fuck up, dude. Your coworkers will look at you different.
I like that a lot. So this Boy Tech, this gentleman's name, he stopped me. He's like, man, you always got a suit on. What do you do? I was like, I'm in life insurance. And they're like, oh, we're in property management. I'm like, oh, that's dope. I was like, and they're like, what are you getting after this? I'm like, about to do a podcast with this really wealthy guy from Chicago. He's in VC and things like that. Guess what they say after that? Do you listen to this dude's podcast named John Cerasani?
Shut up.
I swear to God.
Really?
I swear to God. You know me
Nice.
lifetime.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's who I'm doing it with. I just didn't want to name drop. So they were like, that's so sick. And I'm like, and this is what they hit me with next. He's the reason we didn't quit our jobs.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
they
fucking
do
hilarious.
property management. So I imagine there's some commission based in that and inspiration of these guys. So
Well, that's nice that they're listening to my podcast because I'll tell you fucking what, and anyone else there that has a fucking podcast, I have my fucking 110,000 plus fucking Instagram followers. I don't have 110,000 views on my podcast each fucking week. I'm happy with where it's at, but like getting people to actually listen to a fucking podcast after all the views you get in social media, it's two
Oh my
totally
God.
different fucking animals, you know?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I was listening to your podcast you did with I think the dude's name was like Yash.
Yeah, that
Yash.
just came out today. Yash
Yeah, and you guys are
Gaffery.
talking about the legitimacy, and I'll come flat out and tell you guys, my shit is all botted out. If you look at my Instagram, bots, all like,
Yeah.
don't pay me for engagement because my Instagram, you would know me. Like, you don't have to run a test
Yeah.
on mine.
Yeah.
My shit is not. No, I just put that's makeup on there.
Right.
TikTok, it's pretty organic, and my YouTube, that's pure organic. I'm not gonna play around with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's.
Don't fuck with your YouTube, dude. I think it's gonna fuck up the algorithm.
Yeah, no, I'm not messing with that at
I
all.
gotta tell you though, man, I fucked with my Instagram early, but it's hard, dude, because the problem with Instagram is you could buy the followers and all that kind of shit. People in the fucking know are gonna be able to have ways to just kind of look at
Yeah.
it to see if you did or not.